And this is how our society operates. It's like, let's stay in the head. Let's put the mind in the head. So we don't let emotions get in the way and we don't have this emotional breakdown. But it's actually making us less resilient. It's making us less resilient because the less we kind of come into the heart, the more we're kind of pushing into that type of intelligence that we think of in the West and in the kind of culture that we're in. And that's going to lead to the burnout, right? And it's interesting the language that you're using, like I'm going to drop into a puddle, which is water, which I always find it so interesting because people are just using the language of the elements. They are so amazingly. So this gets to some theory around emotions are born of the heart. This is what it said, like the emotions, the chitta, the impressions are going to be born of the heart. And then the water and the air are really connected. They both have this flowing. You know how I talked about the fire and earth being really connected? And they're all connected, but there's some that have some really cool interchanges. The water flows and the air flows, right? And so what we're scared of is like, if we open those emotions and then we have to slow down and kind of circulate those, you know, within our body and like process them and eliminate them, that's going to take time. And I don't have time.
Yes, yeah. Morning, I don't have time. Yeah.
And that's our culture. But then it's giving us no time to digest. No time to, and that's how it feels, you know, with childhood trauma. Like there's no time to digest it. There's no time. And when I say that, that could be like a severing through divorce or, you know, there's lots of things that could happen with that. And then no one's there to kind of teach you how to somatically digest that. And so if I just don't go into the heart and I don't birth any new emotions or, you know, and see where my mind is actually at with some of these things that I'm experiencing, the impressions that I'm seeing in the outer world, how it's affecting my inner world, if I don't process it, then I can just keep moving like a robot. That's kind of the way that we're taught. And so that's the samskara, the pattern that you were taught. That's all, the fear. If I go there, then I won't be able to get what else I need to get accomplished. And so we just have to reroute the belief system. The belief is, if I go there, if I go into the heart, I have a system where I can process that emotion. And I am okay to be sad, and I'm okay to be, you know, whatever those emotions are, grieving. So starting just to reroute our mind to believe and trust the system. And in that, we're going to find true resiliency. And then that's when we're able to have an open heart as we go into the world. Because if we don't process it, the heart's going to be like, okay, I got to protect this. As I go out into the world, I'm going to keep this locked in. But as soon as we feel it, process it, digest it, then the heart's more open. And yes, if it keeps accumulating, that's a really important word in Ayurveda. If it keeps accumulating, yes, it's going to take longer to process it, of course. Yes, and it might be like the iceberg. That's the iceberg theory, where it's just, we're just going to melt a little bit today. We're just going to process, you know, a few layers of it today, melt off a few layers of that today. Especially as we start to work with, for example, intergenerational accumulation. But that's the number one fear with this work, I find, is people are really afraid of emotion. Yeah. And it's really like one of our biggest assets as humans. It's what moves mountains. Emotions being in, not only being born of the heart, and then they are also living in the kosha of the spirit. So that's the sheath of Ananda Maya kosha, the bliss spirit. In my opinion, this is how I teach it. Like that emotions live there in that aspect of our, you know, Maya or coverings or sheaths. You know, we talk about bliss being that content peace, but also in there is, I think we could also define it as love. And so all emotions are coming back to the space of love. And they're wanting us to get back there, but it's saying the sadness, the grief, the anger, all of it is saying, before you can go to love, we need to process this. Mm-hmm. And it's routing you back to love. But if you stop it and you only stay in the anger, or you're saying, I don't want to feel anger, then it's that shock, it's that freeze, it's that what we're in, in the wellness kind of space, talking about when we talk about stuck. What's happening for you? What's coming up for you?
Wow. Oh, I just I feel like so many little light bulbs are going on. It just yeah.
So this is getting back to, what we're doing with this Heartmind program. And, we're creating a home in each chakra, remember? So we're creating, the foundation is I'm showing up, I'm staying accountable to my practice and to this, I'm showing up in the chakra, I'm bringing my energy here. That's the foundation. You have to do that in order to build a home. Okay, so I'm showing up, I'm accountable. I am accountable to my body and my mind and my spirit. Then we have those pillars, right? And those are going to start to help create the walls and the structure and the openings as well, doors, things like that to kind of come in and out. And then, so that's the showing up is part of the trust. I'm going to show up here because I'm going to trust if I show up here, then, then some of this work is going to happen. The walls are going to be built and there's going to be a place for me here, a belonging for me here. Then the top is the faith, the like shelter of it is the faith, like the belief, like you're talking about. The belief that I belong here and I'm going to be sheltered here. I'm going to be supported, protected in this home. So that's exactly what we're building right here in each chakra as we go down up, and we'll continue to feel down too when we go to integration, and you can come back to which chakras need that home, need to kind of spend some time in that home. And it reminds me, going back to Benjamin Franklin's quote too, of like a home's not a home without a hearth. So you could have the structure of the chakra, but unless you take your mind there, your fire, your discipline, it's not a home.
Mm.
Subscribe now for a free Yoga Nidra for your heart to reclaim your mind.